The Buddha set out and gave what are known as the three turnings of the wheel. And these are the kind of summary of all the Buddha's teachings. The Buddha gave so many teachings, and he gave them to people from all walks of life, and even, which was radical at the time, gave teachings to women and people who were from different social castes in a context where social order was really rigid. So he gave many, many teachings, and there's a saying in Tibetan Buddhism, often at the beginning of teachings, they say there are 84,000 teachings of the Buddha. And so many, many teachings, but they can be summarized in the three turnings of the wheel. So the first turning of the wheel is turning of the wheel means turning of the wheel of Dharma. It's this expression of the first time that the Buddha's teachings were given. And this was in Deer Park in Varanasi, northern India near Nepal. And he gave this teaching to the first students, the first Buddhists. And that was the teaching of non-self. This is really the hallmark of Buddha's teachings and the really radical part of what he taught in a time where everyone was talking about finding this true eternal self. He gave the teaching of an-atma, non-self or not that self. And the idea was that at the core of what we are, that is this open-ended, this empty, open-ended possibility, that it isn't fixed, it isn't eternal, it isn't defined, but that it is something that is a kind of centerless center, that what we are is emerging. It emerges through dependent origination from the interaction with circumstances and context. Usually people think of who am I as far as my true self, and maybe we tell ourselves based on our linear biography what our true self is. Or maybe, too, we also have the idea of some kind of ultimate true self that we always were or always will be. But the Buddha's first teaching, this first turning of the wheel, was this idea of non-self. And it's not that we don't exist as beings, but it's that how we exist is highly momentary, which is why we can be in one context, we're able to be a teacher or a father or a mother or a daughter, a son, and another context we're able to be a rock star, or another context we're quite serious and a friend, and we're able to inhabit all of these roles and so many different personalities and emotions and all of these things because we have an open center that is empty of a fixed place. And so discovering our true self, if we had to interpret that in terms of Buddhism, it would be more about encountering that stream of being that's presently arising and knowing that that wakeful presence to be what we are, rather than basing ourselves on these fixed, continuous identities. And this is a kind of freedom, which means that in different contexts we might emerge in different ways that are appropriate for those contexts, and that we don't have to be stuck in our old identities or defined by our actions or inactions, that at the core of what we are, it's open-ended. And so in the first turning of the wheel, he taught this idea of non-self. He taught the Four Noble Truths, and that the core of being is this openness, this empty nature.